Right, sorry, little technical difficulties there. What's up, YouTube? I'm Zach Swan, aka Vitamin Dread, and this is my very first Pokemon team building video. I'm hoping to do a lot more of these, hopefully once every PokéMonday. I'm doing right now singles, OU singles on Pokemon Showdown. That's really what I'm most familiar with, but my hope is that if these videos are successful, that I will be doing other metagames, UU lower tiers, monotype, anything goes, anything that I can study and really become familiar with. But really the only one that I've been familiar with from this gen is OU. So I'm going to build an OU team. If you want to check out the team, I'm going to stream this team all week on my Twitch channel, so check out that link in the description. And if you have any comments, feel free to drop them about the team. If you want to use the team, I'm also going to put a PokéPaste in the comments. If you want to try it out yourself and maybe tinker around with it yourself, that'd be awesome. For my first video, I was trying out different things, and I really kind of wanted to do something a little different. This isn't really different, but it's something that I've personally never done before, and that is use Mega Camerupt. That's my Pokemon of choice. Usually when building a team, you want to start with a Pokemon that you might think is interesting or that you want to use, and then see if maybe it could be at all viable by checking, first of all, the viability rankings. And all these links are in the description, guys. The viability rankings here on Smogon, you could check out. Also, what is an even more important utility is the Pokemon usage stats. There's so many different metagames, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on OU and pretty much plan for the top 30-ish. Oh, excuse me, this is Gen 1 OU. Pretty much plan for the top 30-ish Pokemon in OU for this. I'm not sure how it's going to be. I have no idea. Haven't used the team before, but this week is going to be really exciting to see. I will also post some replays, and next week I'll do another one of these videos and give you a little update on what happened over the course of the week, if you did not happen to see it on my Twitch channel. Again, that link is in the description, so check that out. So first, what I wanted to do is, I'm just going to dive right into it. This is not going to be a very long video. I used a bunch of sort of pre-made sets really for it. I did go ahead and use the Pokemon calculator just for a few moves here and there. Hopefully I can go over those, but my first Pokemon, the Pokemon that the team is built around, is Mega Camerupt. So this is the only UU set that is on its dex. Now Mega Camerupt, obviously fire ground typing, really easy to wall electric types with, really effective walling electric types. Also as a fire type, fire is a very useful type given the amount of steel types, especially those that are 4 times weak to fire, like Ferrothorn or Kartana. If you look at the viability rankings, you're looking at, I know Heatran obviously, but Camerupt can take care of Heatran with Earth Power. It can also take care of Toxapex with Earth Power, which is pretty surprising. It's just an amazing wall breaker. Kartana obviously can't really do much to it. Ferrothorn, it can knock back Magearna, it can knock back Tapu Koko, it can, I mean, the list just goes on. I'm going to actually use a, I think I'm going to use Rock Slide for Volcarona. Now, it does have problems with other things like dragon types like Zygarde, which we'll go over in just a second. That was one of its main counters, Zygarde, dragon types and water types, mostly bulky waters outside of Toxapex, things like Mantine, the like. But basically looking at this dex, it's pretty standard. Max attack, modest. This is not really the set move set for me right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy paste on my new, get my new team builder. Generally, I just name my team after what gimmick I'm trying to incorporate into it. So Mega Camerupt, and then OU. So I'm really not set on Stealth Rock as the last move slot. Toxic is going to be useful for things like Zapdos. That switches in. It can also cripple some other Pokemon, bulky Pokemon that might be going in to take a hit. Things that I need could, especially most namely, something like a setup Latios or a setup Dragon type is really great, like Zygarde, Dragon Dance Zygarde or something. Toxic is really, really great for that. I might work around Stealth Rock. I might have it elsewhere on my team. My team is kind of loaded, and I'm probably going to have room for improvement after this is over. But I'm going to just start jumping into its weaknesses first, which is water types and dragon types. The best utility that I think has the most synergy with Camerupt is Mantine. Mantine can obviously take any water hits with Water Absorb. Is immune to ground, so if Camerupt happens to find itself against something with Earthquake or Earth Power or something, Mantine will just shrug it off. Also, Camerupt takes care of Mantine's electric and, to an extent, its rock weakness as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and put leftovers on here. Water Absorb, and then this is going to be a pretty standard Mantine set with Haze for anything that might be still trying to set up. That might change. I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely going to have Scald, Defog, because Defog hazard control is really important in today's meta, in my opinion. And then, Roost. Right now, I'm just going to go with a physically defensive set, even though it needs more special defense. It is a great special defense wall. It naturally has a lot of special defense, so I'm going to go with defense for right now. I don't really have a lot to take hits other than this, but we'll get to it in a second. I'm just going to go with physical defense for right now. So when looking at this, I still need help with dragon types, most namely Latios. Latios is pretty much completely walled by Tapu Lele, and the reason why I like Tapu Lele too is because it also is useful for taking down things like Mega Venusaur, and also can provide additional coverage on Toxapex, and just great coverage overall. In fact, so good that I think I'm going to end up using, I'm not going to end up using a Z move as of right now on it. I might go back and change this as the video goes on, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with Tapu Lele as my first dragon type counter. I have multiple. But Lele's helpful also for fighting types, things like Mega Lopunny, Mega Medicham. Specs can really bounce those back. So I'm going to go with Specs. And Psychic Surge, of course. Oh, excuse me. This last slot is supposed to be Nature Power, because I'm running Psychic Surge. So Psychic Terrain comes out. Nature Power turns into Psychic as Camerupt enters on Psychic Terrain, which is boosted by Psychic Terrain, so it's totally spammable. Can knock other things that threaten it, or things that you might have a hard time working around, like Mega Lopunny, as aforementioned, or Mega Medicham. So I am going to run pretty, just all attacking specs set with Psyshock, Moonblast, Focus Blast, and then probably Hidden Power Fire. It's kind of redundant coverage since I already have a fire type. I could use Shadow Ball for Alakazam, but Alakazam is already pretty frail. In fact, I wonder what Lele, this is where the damage calculator, again, all these links are going to be in the description, guys. So we'll take a look at the damage calculator on Tapu Lele. Specs against, obviously Moonblast is going to weigh more than KO. I could also use the Scarf to ensure that I outspeed Latios and Alakazam. Mega Alakazam. Specs, okay. Jeez. Psyshock, almost one-hit KOs. Moonblast, one-hit, has a... yeah, Stealth Rock, but it might not take damage from Stealth Rock if it's just Mega Evolving, so... there is a 30% chance to KO. Okay. Interesting. For now. I'm just going to roll with Hidden Power Fire. We do not need bulk specs. This needs to be as fast as I can. So it has to be timid. This will be 4. And now this team, I'm still having problems with things like Landorus and Zygarde, and even though Lele can knock back Zygarde, if Zygarde already has some boosts, it's not the most reliable counter to Zygarde Garchomp, especially Scarf Garchomp. So, and then just generally for most switch-ins, physical type switch-ins, I want to roll with Lando T. In my opinion, Landorus T should be banned. I know it's not super overpowered, but a Pokemon that's on like 25% of teams that's also a legendary it's pretty hard to work around. And I know it's a big part of the meta, but they just in UU they just banned Amoonguss, so I think it could be a pretty similar ban. I'm not sure if they did a suspect test in the past. This is going to be like a typical defensive Landorus. I have a set on Smogon. First set right here. This is going to provide me with a somewhat slow U-turn, Hidden Power Ice to help with the dragon types, those that are four times weak to ice. Bleh. And obviously Stealth Rock I need to set up. And then Earthquake is extremely helpful for extra coverage on steel types, things like Heatran, just an amazing stab move in general. It's going to also help me with things like Tyranitar and Sand Team's Excadrill, at least to an extent. The combination of Intimidate and Earthquake is the only good Intimidate user. I thought about using something else with Intimidate, something that has like a little bit more of a synergy with fire, but I think that Landorus T is that defensive Landorus T is pretty necessary. Now, this team, the makeup of this team so far, you can tell is a balanced team. There's a few Pokemon that might tend to shut me down. Tapu Fini kind of comes to mind if it can get a Toxic off on Mantine. It kind of is hard to work around. Opposing Tapu Lele isn't the most ideal in this against this team. So I decided to go ahead and run with something that will give me a little bit more of an edge against other fairy types, Clefable, Tapu Lele, which honestly, Tapu Lele and Tapu Fini do not have a lot of counters, and they're really hard to work around. There's a reason why they're two of the most popular. At least Tapu Lele is one of the most popular mons in the metagame. Tapu Fini, you don't see very much, but it is somewhat common, and you do have to plan for it. So just to knock back fairy types in general, I'm going to go with Ash Greninja, or no, excuse me, regular Greninja with Protein. This also gives me the ability to run Spikes. I don't know what item I'm going to use yet. Life Orb, Expert Belt, I have no idea. And then this has to be Protein. I'm going to run Hydro Pump, obviously. We're going to run... We already have Haze on Mantine. We're going to run U-Turn. This gives me another option to pivot out into something in case I can bring Greninja in on something that it forces out. And then I can safely U-turn to something that counters whatever switches in. Gunk Shot is just for fairy types, really. And we're going to do Spikes for right now. This might change to, because my team's already hitting very hard. Specs Lele is amazing. I've totally just realized I deleted Landorus. God damn it. The life of emphasis on attack, since our Hydro Pump is already super strong. Now, I just want to take a look at something first. Let's take a look at the damage calc. Greninja. All out attacker. I just want to do I want to see what 252 attack does. Let's say, U-turn. What about Latios? %75 chance to one-hit KO. Okay. Now, if I ran Dark Pulse, I'd probably get 100% chance. However, let's take a look at Tapu Lele too, because I may need him against Tapu Lele if it's not a Z move Gunk Shot takes care of him, obviously. 220%. Woo! So yeah, U-turn is necessary. It gives me another pivot, and I need pivots for things that are kind of frail. My team is all about offensive pressure and having the most amount of momentum as possible. So we're gonna put this Landorus on here too. And just to round out, I need another physical attacker. Something probably with I need another physical attacker, something probably with a fighting move. So right now, what I'm going to use is, just to have more options. I don't really know if this is going to be set in stone or not, but I'm going to use Tapu Bulu. And the first reason is because I need like more of a stall breaker that's going to be reliable and not just something that I'm like trying to just muscle out of existence. So I'm going to run a sub, sorry, this is, I don't know what I'm going to use, probably Life Orb, because I'm going to use Horn Leech. So yeah, basically I'm going to do a sub Swords Dance set with Horn Leech and Superpower. And that's going to help with Chansey, pretty much, is really what I need it for. And also general stall breaking. It also puts out Grassy Surge, which will help Camerupt take an Earthquake, or an if it so happens to need to take an Earthquake. Earth Power doesn't, its power is not have, but Earthquakes is. But it also allows Camerupt's Nature Power to be Energy Ball. So very situational, I know, but just so happens if you get Camerupt in after Tapu Bulu, you might be able to throw an Energy Ball at something that switches in, like Greninja or something, whatever their Camerupt counter might be. So that's basically my team for right now. Let's just make sure I don't have everything set. Oh, I do. Oh, I need I got Life Orb, that's set. I need an item for Greninja. You know, U-turn doesn't, it's only 75% chance to one-hit KO if I use Life Orb. I could also use a Z move, do not have a Z move as of yet. I could also use a Z move on Tapu Bulu. I could use Fight EMZ. Let's actually take a look at the damage calc and see, because it's not, I don't need that much on U-turn to take these things down. Just like a Life Orb or even an Expert Belt would do it against things like Mega Zam and Latios. So let's take a look at Tapu Bulu, Sub Swords Dance, and let's take a look at, wow, 140% to Tapu Lele. No, just on stab alone, plus 70% recovered. Woo. That's obviously an offensive Lele. And we're going to go to Chansey. Okay, so the Z move, 12% chance after Grass Terrain Recovery. What about if rocks are up? .5% chance. Ooh, doggy. Well, oh, this is if I'm running Adamant too, which I'm not. Damn. Okay. Well, I might have to change it to Adamant. There's still a 31% chance to KO after Stealth Rock. I might have to change it to Adamant. I don't know yet. I mean, I don't really think it's going to be that hard to knock back Chansey. I mean, you know, all-out pummeling does help with steel types as well and other things, rock types especially. Tyranitar, I really need something for that because as is my only fighting move is Lele's Focus Blast. I do have U-turn for both that, so I think I'm gonna stick with. I just might as well use the Z move because I don't have it. I don't have anything that would work. So I'm gonna use Fight EMZ. Fightinium Z, I should say. And then Greninja, I'm going to use Life Orb. Protein Greninja with Life Orb seems pretty good to me. So here's my team. I'm going to put this on PokéPaste and put the paste link in the description. I usually stream on my Twitch channel in the evening Pacific time, usually around 7, 8 o'clock Pacific time, if you can make it. If not, please feel free to drop a comment about how you think the team is, and if you used it, or if you have any suggestions for improvements. This kind of counters just the top like 20 to 30 mons that are used in OU in the lower tiers, and then if you think that there's going to be other things like, oh, you know, Gastrodon is really going to, I mean, not Gastrodon, but, you know, oh, you know, there's you really need Ice Beam on Greninja or something like that. Or you really need to change, you know, Mantine to be more offensive or something like that, which I don't know why you would do that, but let me know, please. I love you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day, and I'll catch you next week.